Alright, man, with college baseball over and everyone kind of starting to get into the college football mood, man, it's just a few months away. I figure I should start finding some more college football videos. We've been doing a few, college football talk videos on 3, checking out a few of those that are interesting. And now I just came across this video that seems, to be pretty good. The worst college football team to ever step on a field. Let's get it, man. I'm intrigued by this.
Stories have often been told about the greatest college football teams of all
And
time.
what about the
We're talking
worst?
About the dynamic 2019
Joey
LSU
B.
offense, the 2022 stifling Alabama team, 1995 Nebraska, or notably the 2001 Miami team, who was so strong that they would have gone 8-4 in their schedule without scoring a single offensive touchdown. But
that's
very
crazy.
few people talk about the opposite end of the spectrum, the all-time low. So today, I'm going to take you on a journey through the 3 worst college football teams to ever grace a field.
Oh my
Now,
god.
there will be an asterisk, and while this list may feel like it has some recency bias, my true belief is that the wider schools can recruit from in the recent years, the introduction of NIL, and the money disparity between schools in the last 10 years has exacerbated the discrepancy from the best and the worst. And ESPN's Power Ranking Index, which includes a number to describe how bad teams are, will back that up, as the worst teams have slowly and surely been trending to new depths.
Oh my
so without
god.
further ado, let me take you to number 3 on this list, 2021 UMass. Now, UMass
2021,
is a great cautionary
1 and
tale of
11.
when not to make the jump from FCS to FBS. In the late 2000s, they were a perfectly fine FCS school, not dominant by any stretch, but they'd win some games here and there, but they didn't have the infrastructure, money, or desire from the athletic director to make them an FBS school. Now, did that stop them from doing it? Absolutely not, as in 2012, they joined the FBS ranks.
Damn, 55 to 10.
13 years in a row of losing seasons, with their best 2 years being 2017 and 2018, where they managed to go 4-8 in back-to-back
That
seasons.
was their
But
best years,
they
bro.
also hold another special record, which is their 2021 season under head coach Walt Bell. They would transcend not to just be the worst team in college football that year, but one of the worst teams of all time.
Dude.
They opened up their season with
Imagine being on the team that is considered one of the worst of all time. You know how many teams that there have been in college football history? How many teams there are every single year? And then you multiply that by every single year that college football has been a thing, bro. And you're one of the top 3 worst.
51-7 loss to Pitt. Now, this Pitt team would go on to be pretty good, so maybe we'll let that one slide. But the following week, they'd get blown out by Boston College 45-28. Eastern Michigan would come to them and match that score before they'd have to take on another top 25 team in Coastal Carolina, who would just shove them into the locker for 4 quarters with a final score of 53-3. Then
Jeez, I mean, at least they're
45-7,
scoring.
and in the last stand by Massachusetts, they saw their one chance to win a game and took it, taking on UConn, where they had their one and only win of the season, and that was even by 2 touchdowns.
Okay, now imagine being UConn and you gave one of the worst teams of all time their only win, and they beat you by double digits. I think that might be even worse, bro. I'm talking about the worst teams of all time, and you're the one team that gave them that win.
And while you may think, well, Isaac, if they beat another team, doesn't that then become the worst team of all time? And just hold on to that, because that was UMass's Super Bowl. The following week, they went to Florida
Super Bowl.
State and took a 59-3 loss right to the Dome, just to hop on another plane to Liberty and take a 62-17 loss.
Oh my
in the
God.
face, which appeared to break them, as in spectacular fashion. They were going to stoop to a new low, losing to Rhode Island, an FCS team, by 13 points. Then, in a redemption game against Maine, a second FCS team, they would lose by 25
Jesus
points.
Louises,
Mind you,
brother.
Maine wasn't even a good FCS team that year, finishing the season just 6-5, with their most dominant win of the entire year being over that FBS team of UMass, making them one of the rare teams to lose to 2
35
FCS
to
teams
10?
in one season. They ran things out with a 16-point loss to Army, a 17-point loss to New Mexico State, to finish off a beautiful 1-11 season. Now, before I
UConn,
get to
man.
the top 2,
Okay, I just want to know what their average score is. Hey, what's the most points they scored in a game? 28? Yeah, they scored 28 twice against Boston College and Eastern Michigan. They were never shut out, so, hey, The least they scored was 3 against Coastal and Florida State, but they were never shut out, bro. So props to them for that one. Yeah, I just want to know what their average like score is, like for the other team and their team, bro. Like it has to be like what? Probably like 40. I would guess. I would guess like 49-10 maybe is like the average score of a game for them. I don't know. That's just a random guess based on the numbers I'm seeing, but
I do want to shout out one team that I thought would be in this video, and it actually inspired me making the list.
Notre
and that was
Dame?
2024 Purdue.
Purdue? What am I talking about?
66-7 loss to Notre Dame, Wisconsin beating them 52-6, Oregon's 35-0 thumping, and the stretch of getting stomped 45-0 by Ohio State, 49-10 by Penn State, and ending their season with a humongous 66-0 loss to Indiana. And I thought they were surely one of the worst teams this year, if not of all time. But I guess the fact that they kept it close with a top 25 Illinois, and most of their ass kickings came from playoff teams, literally the entire top 4 teams in the country.
They got shut out by Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, and I guess they scored against Indiana State. I was looking at the 0 there too, just used to seeing them getting shut out. They were shut out 3 times this year, bro. The most points they scored was 49, but in a loss it was 20, or no, 49, I guess. Yeah, that's pretty bad, dude. That's pretty bad.
And the national championship alongside the runner-up meant that they had maybe just one of the hardest schedules this year, which gives them grace over the actual number 2 worst team of all time, 2024 Kent State.
Oh,
now,
God.
Their season started off in a similar vein to 2021 Massachusetts, and that's with Pitt dropping 50 points on them as they would lose that game 55-24.
Pittsburgh doing it again, bro.
Fashion, they had their home opener.
Pittsburgh beat Maine, or Massachusetts too.
Them, an FCS school, and beat them 23-17
St. Francis
before they had to become the fluffer, going down to Tennessee, where boy howdy did they give them the Rocky Toppy Sloppy as they took a 71-0 pounding before their buttholes even had a chance to close. They
okay, brother.
Train to Penn Station, where their offense collectively put up 66 yards in the entire game while taking a 56-0 loss as they completed exactly 2 passes across 13 attempts and could only run for 48 yards. They then had Eastern Michigan beat them 52-33 at home. Ball State, an absolutely struggling team, came into their house to beat them by 2 points in one of Ball State's 2 wins of the season, with the other being against NIU, the same NIU that beat Notre Dame earlier.
I love it.
Baby, just maction. They then were trounced 27-6 by Bowling Green, 52-21 by Western Michigan, 41-0 by Ohio,
Jesus.
Not the Ohio State, just Ohio. Then 34-7 by Miami, Ohio, 38-17 by Akron, 43-7 by Buffalo. And on top of just how bad the scores were, they were also pretty much only putting up their points in garbage time. Meaning that when you actually watch these games, it felt so much worse than the score would imply. But if going 0-12 and losing to an FCS team at home and having back-to-back weeks...
Okay, they got shut out 3 times. 71-0 Tennessee, brother. Oh man. Oh man. Imagine being a fan of this team, bro. Like, if that was LSU, man, I'd lose my mind by the second game.
You lose 71-0 and 56-0 isn't enough to get you the
I'd
title.
be gray-haired by the time this season's halfway over.
Then what will get you that title? And I'm glad you asked, but before I get to another one, I actually have another honorable mention, and that's 2020 UMass.
Another UMass.
Technically the second lowest graded team of all time, but with a massive asterisk of that it was a COVID year. They only played 4 games, and it was probably riddled with opt-outs,
they got a safety
and guys being held out for quarantine. But across those 4 games, they only scored 12 points, got shut out twice by Georgia Southern in a 41-0 brutality and a 45-0 thumping by Liberty. They then lost to Marshall 51-10, with their last loss coming in a 24-2 beating by powerhouse FAU.
Powerhouse,
they didn't play a game until mid-October, then not again until November 7th, 3 weeks after, then had to wait 2 weeks before playing their only back-to-back games, meaning they really had a wacky, disorienting schedule, so I couldn't in good faith put them this far down. down. But the team that I can put this far down was the UMass team from the year prior, the legendary 2019 UMass team. Now, as you can
UMass,
imagine,
man,
they had a
again.
bad record, but we'll start off with their Week 5 win against Akron, who went entirely defeated and would make you think that they should be the worst team this year. But when you looked at the fact that they tied with Akron for weakness of strength and schedule and just how much worse almost all of UMass's losses were, it really sets them apart as being one of the worst teams of all time. Just with that tiny little asterisk that they probably beat the 4th worst team of all time. But for their losses, they went and lost by 27 points to Rutgers, 25 points to Southern Illinois, an FCS team, 35 points to Charlotte, 34 points to Coastal Carolina, 44 points to FIU, 48 points to La Tech, 21 to UConn, 42 to Liberty, 56 to Army, 39 to Northwestern, and to end it off, how about a nice 32-point loss to BYU? So
let me see that schedule.
Did they average losing a little over 36 points per game, but
they lost by on average 36 points per game. Alright, so the most they scored in a game was 37. That was in their win. Okay. I mean, they gave up 62, 52, 56, 63, 63. Oh my god, that 69. Nice. That defense is horrendously bad,
they
dude.
also allowed opposing offenses to score over 40 points every single game, the one game that they actually won, and went on an impressive stretch of 7 out of 11 games allowing 50 or more points, and had a whopping 4 60-point games this season scored against them. But the most damning piece of evidence is that this wasn't against good opponents. In fact, their opponents collectively went 57 for 65, with some of their most embarrassing losses coming against Rutgers, who was a 2-10 team, and getting blown out at home against a not even particularly good SIU team, which was once again an FCS team, and of course losing by 56 points to Army, who would finish with this losing record this season, which is why they were able to nudge out Akron for the worst college team of all time and this year, despite beating them, because at least Akron had some relatively close games and didn't let a single team score more than 60 points on them.
I suppose so. It's still pretty bad.
The worst head coaching tenure of all time, as the 3 years for Walt Bell with his time at UMass collectively put up 2 of the worst seasons of all time, and started off the 3rd one before getting canned mid-season in 2021.
I mean, brother, they let him go 3 years? Well, 2.5 years, I guess, bro. I mean, I guess if you're at UMass, you know, who you gonna go get, I guess? You know, you're the bottom of the bottom, really, when it comes to the FBS teams. But yeah, thank God I am an LSU fan, dude. Thank God I am, because that stuff there, I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it. If LSU ever goes on a run like that, it's gonna be a stressful time, man. It's gonna be a bad time for me, really. You know, thankfully, since I've become a fan of LSU since 06, they've not done that. The worst they've done would be 500 in 2020 and 2021. So, you know, those are the 2 worst seasons, and that was bad enough. That was bad enough. Don't want to live through it again, ever. So, you know, let's just move past it. We had our 2 bad years. We don't have to do it again in my lifetime. Let's just go be 9 wins or more every single year. I'll be happy, man. So, yeah, hope y'all enjoyed, man. I do have a Discord server open. I've been saying this my last few videos. You know, just trying to get it out there. I do have a Discord server open. The link is in the description down below. Go ahead, click the link, join up in the server, man, hang out. We're gonna do gaming, just chatting, you know, just hanging out with y'all, doing whatever, really, man. So, yeah, it's gonna be a good time, just hanging out as a community, man. So, yeah. Click that link, join up, and yeah, hope y'all enjoyed. I'll catch y'all in the next one, man.